Okay, now going into the post-trade world, and again, keeping the idea of what's helpful and what's harmful. Post-trade reporting. So there's trade reporting and there's transaction reporting. So those are kind of the two areas of post-trade reporting. Trade reporting very much helps with price formation because someone can see, oh, this is what just traded, and I can kind of get an idea of where the price should be. So that really helps the buy-side dealer. In transaction reporting, and certainly in the equities world right now, many of you may or may not know transaction cost analysis. Very big with equities, massive. It's how they measure the performance of the sell side, and it's how they measure the performance of themselves, all the way down to the individual dealer on the desk. So it's whether or not they keep him in that job or her job or not, and that's quite important. It's actually become so much a part of the fabric of equities that it's moved into the pre-trade world, and it's used in cost expectation. So if a portfolio manager says, okay, I need to dump an entire portfolio, how am I going to do that? And so they go, okay, well, here's the expected costs of doing that if we do it in certain ways. And that's all based on transaction cost analysis. So this is good stuff. Kate was speaking about this earlier, that we need that kind of information in the fixed income market. But again, we do not ever want it to hurt the buy side. So we need deferred publication where it's illiquid, this sort of thing. We just need to put some sense around that. That's all. I do have an idea which may or may not be well received, which is so even for illiquid bonds, because normally I would say illiquid bonds, you do not put out to the market immediately as far as trade reporting, because you certainly don't want to harm the buy side or cause market impact. However, I don't have an issue, and this is something to look at. This is kind of blue sky thinking about having it go to the local regulator, because then you have it for position management and market abuse purposes. Recent market scandals where someone cornered a whole index recently, if the FSA or regulator in the States had that information, they might have put a phone call into a certain person and said, hang on, what are you doing with this outsized position? So that's something to think about, and it's really just an idea and just one to sort of hash about. But definitely getting more post-trade reporting in fixed income, I think, is very, very healthy, but where it makes sense, so it doesn't impact. Okay? Oh, don't want to forget about consolidated tape. Absolutely, follow what they did in the States with Trace. Take a look, but definitely look at the lessons learned. Some brokers went down in the States, so that's not necessarily a good thing. I think we need to go and do a proper study of what happened with Trace in the States, and but use that as a guideline. I'm completely in agreement that there should be one venue for reporting post-trade data. Why have several? You're just inviting discrepancies. It's just, so okay, anyway, I won't go on about that. Okay. Hello. Okay, oh, pointing at the wrong thing. Okay, I'm trying to. There we go. And again, deferred publication where it makes sense for illiquid equities or fixed income. I mean, all of this is, you don't want to harm the performance of a buy-side dealer who is acting on our behalf. Okay. Oops. Keep pointing at the wrong thing. Okay. Okay, and here's again some sort of blue sky thinking, just sort of what ifs, some ideas that based on the fact that I have worked in equities and fixed income and have been in electronic trading for a long time. I found out something very interesting about bonds, and there is liquidity, a group of people who could do liquidity profiling, and that's the debt management office and the primary dealers. They're the ones who handle bond auctions today. So they could potentially get together and think about what's liquid, what's not. And this is, again, to get the bond market moving into saying, okay, well, for these certain instruments, and I think I mentioned them earlier, these could act more like equities. They could be more transparent and very much function in similar ways to equities, so we can have some of the benefits. One of which is, and this is probably going way too much detail, but there's something called commission sharing agreements in equities. And commission sharing agreements are quite good for unbundling of research and execution. And something in fixed income could be spread sharing agreements. So you just, obviously there's no such thing as commission in fixed income, but you could have spread sharing agreements as long as you have fixed fees. And I've spoken to some buy-side dealers, and they were quite interested in that. So I think there's a lot of creativity that could be put into this if we just sort of get around the table, but it is very specific, very detail-oriented, and very technical. So sort of to recap everything, and I'm kind of borrowing from a different profession and borrowing from Hippocrates, but I definitely think it's something to look at, which is must consider possible harm that any intervention can do. And I think that's something we definitely need to look at, because we do not want to change the market just for change's sake. I think we need to make sure that we do not harm it, and look to some of the what was done in equities. How did we transform equities? We managed to take it from a totally voice environment into an electronic environment, and it worked. I mean, we needed to tweak it, which is what MiFID I was all about. So we need to tweak this, but we can with sensible heads. And what we all are after is proper sourcing, tracking, and analyzing of the full life cycle of a trade, and that's in all asset classes. Okay, so basically the end of this is to make sure that all asset classes, and I know I'm talking more about equities and fixed income, but that they're all open for business no matter what the conditions. So that's to prevent what happened in 2008, 2009. So that's it for me, but if anyone wants to ask me any questions at the panel, I'd love to. Thanks.